When did you get the news about the Pro Bowl selection there?
Yesterday, actually. They set me up. The guy set me up. The media team set me up. I thought I was going in do a little speech for the Nest, and at first I read it, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Shout out to fans. And then they was like, read it again, and I'm like, hold up. So when I read it, it was like, hey, I'm a Pro Bowler, Khadarel Hodge, something like that. I'm like, hold up, can't be for real. So, I mean, it was crazy. It's still crazy right now. I'm still soaking it all in, man. It's definitely a blessing, bro. I thank God, man. Put in a lot of work, and I thank the guys on teams, man. Marquice for believing in me and putting me in a position to win, man. I'm just so grateful right now, for real.
How much does it mean to you knowing that outside of this building, everyone has acknowledged your hard work?
Oh, that means the most when you get respect from your peers, and not just your peers, just coaches on other teams. That's when I think about the most after the games, when you see special teams coaches or head coaches come up to you and just appreciate the way you work and grind and on the field and congratulate you for the work you put in. That means a lot.
Do you have a favorite play from this season?
Oh yeah, that wasn't special teams. By far the Buccaneers overtime. That's probably the play of my life. So yeah, that one.
What's been the driving force for you to keep going? Coming out of Prairie View, been with 4 different teams. What's been the key to keep pushing and trying to make it in the league?
Man, I love the game. I love competing, honestly. I like to push myself to be better at something every day. And besides that, I just had a daughter, so that's my new purpose in life. Going hard for her, man. She's a big reason why I do a lot. I get up early, and I really start being more disciplined and detailed in my game and stop playing on my potential. But I would just say that's just who I've always been. I've always been a hard-working guy. I just like the work. I like the grind. I appreciate it, and I just want to see the outcome of everything and the work I put in.
Marquice was telling us earlier about the Vegas game. Where you bought the punt, you were rattled, now you're banged up, but you came back after halftime, got to hand another punt. What was that game like for you? It seemed like it was just all about effort.
Yeah, it was crazy. That exact scheme we schemed up, schemed it up in like the middle of the week. He put a block in earlier in the week. He always draw things up, but we actually changed it because he seen something else on film. And I'm like, yeah, I like it. So we started working it at the practice, and I'm saying it happened exactly the way like we imagined. And it was crazy when I was running. I'm like, ain't no way. Like the first time, I kind of got off late and I tipped it. I actually hit it with my whole hand. I don't know how I went 20 yards, so it was a tip. But the second time, it opened up again. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, ain't no way. But it happened, and like I said, it was a blessing, man. It was crazy. That's to block 2 in one game, and I haven't blocked 1 like my whole career. And I've been close so many times, and the guys been picking at me about it. So to get 2 in one game it's crazy.
How banged up were you in that game?
Oh man, I ain't never. Week 18, week 17, whatever week it was. I mean, in the NFL, you're never gonna be 100. You're probably not even gonna be close to 80 at this point. It's just all grind for real.
When you look at the season and you kind of look at all you've done between a block punt, recovering one in the end zone, stopping somebody on 4th down. And fans may look at it like, oh, it's just a special teams player is making, and they got to fill the roster. Does that show how important this position is and how kind of a game changer it can be?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I always say, people overlook special teams until it really matters, until it comes down to that play, or you make that big play or that game-changing play, or you make that game-winning kick, or 4th down stop, or force a fumble, or a big, a big play in the game to change the game. So people don't really pay attention to it until it matters. But it's actually a big part of the game, and it's overlooked quite often. But the guys around the league, it's a lot of good guys around the league. We continue to fight for our respect.
Does your baby have any of your game balls by any chance?
Oh yeah, she got a couple. I go home and celebrate with her as soon as I get in the house. So. She's still a newborn right now, 2 months and a couple weeks. But yeah, we'll be talking it up a little bit.
How'd your family react to the news? I know during the surprise, you immediately were like, I gotta call my mom.
Oh yeah, I couldn't. I actually had to tell her this morning because she would told the whole neighborhood. She would have told the whole neighborhood yesterday. So I told her this morning. She's super excited. This is something I've manifested this whole year, the beginning of the year, and I told her that I was going to do it, and I have big plans to get her a home this off season. So that actually helped a lot. So.
Yeah. How was that?
It was awesome. The media staff, they're great, and they asked me to do like a reading to thank 30 Birds Nest, which I don't know if that's a real video or not, but so thank you to them. You guys are exceptional and amazing and best fan section in the NFL. So we did the reading, and then they had like a teleprompter now because that studio is so nice in there, and it came up and that I had got my 3rd Pro Bowl, and I was just really, really fortunate.
Okay, they probably played at the stadium. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when did the reality sunk in? How did that feel? It wasn't a prank. You were actually a Pro Bowler for the 3rd time.
Just really grateful, really appreciative, and just thankful, just to be a part of a great room and a great line, and with everybody in our unit, because if we didn't have a good unit, you wouldn't get individual honors. So I'm very thankful for that. And then just to be honored and recognized with a great group of guys. There's so many guys deserving of it across the league, and so just really honored and thankful.
And what about Drew being an alternate at the center position for, I believe, the first time? Mm-hmm. What was that say for the unit and the work he's put in?
Drew's phenomenal. I mean, everything starts with him, and every run that we ever do is all started with Drew. He gets it started, and obviously he's a very good player, and it's been really cool to see his journey the last 4 years continue to grow, and that he's getting the recognition that he deserves, because nobody approaches the game in a better way than him.
What was your teammates' reaction?
Just really excited. We were in the O-line room, and Led in the middle of meetings just started I sit right in front of him, and so he started throwing water bottles and splashing at me and stuff this morning when it came out. So really thankful, and I talk about it all the time, that we just have a great culture in our room. So really supportive of one another, and so thankful to have those guys.
Chris, when you get it 3 years in a row, it's not just a one-off. It's 3 in a row. What does that say about you as a player and your reputation in the league? I know you're not a big guy like that, but that obviously you've got to take that in. That you're well respected at your position. Just
being reflective and thankful for one, that I have the opportunity to do this, and then the fact that I've had the opportunities to never take it for granted, I guess, is the way that I try to look at it. And appreciative for every moment, every day, and to go out there and celebrate it. My family is extremely excited, and it's one of our favorite things the last couple of years, memories to go with each other, and those are things with me forever. So, I just never want to lose sight of that, and I'm as excited now as I was, 3 years ago, and it's an incredible honor, and I'm just really, really lucky and thankful to be a part of it.
Knowing you're not the type of guy that just sits back and I've made it to the Pro Bowl. You continue to work, and you don't let this go to your head, is what I'm getting at, and you keep working.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's very kind, and I really try just to constantly work, and I think you always put team goals above individual goals, and you're striving for we're striving to win the NFC South, striving to win the playoffs, and we haven't been able to do that yet. Hopefully next Sunday is that opportunity, but there's always things to work on, and honestly the biggest thing is love for one another and the guys that I play with, and if you're not giving you everything, then you're letting them down. So
about the game, just what's the mood in the locker room right now? I mean, what's going on right now, and what's the feel?
Obviously, you come off the field Sunday, and part of Monday, it's hard, to be honest, of disappointment, and that we weren't able to get it done. But in the same sense, it's part of being a pro. It's part of, we have the opportunity ahead of us, so you have to turn the page, which we've done really well as a unit and as a team, and turn the page to Carolina and the opportunity ahead of us and what we have.
As far as Bijan goes, what advances has he made this year, even from the beginning of the season?
He's incredible. I mean, you guys see all the plays he makes. I think he's leading the league in missed tackles. His connection with us as a person, you guys see it every day too. He's just genuinely one of the best people to be around. And he's a legitimate star in the NFL. I mean, I don't know what his following is, but he's a legitimate star, and he's probably one of the nicest people to be around. And so when you see a person like that have the success he has, you couldn't be happier. And on top of that, he does, and he's starting to get recognition for it this year, which is nice. He's doing a lot of dirty work behind the scenes and pass protection and helping guys out, and that's not above him. And you love him for it.
Were there any moments this year that he did something and you were like, oh man, wow, that was ridiculous?
Yeah, a couple of times he's fit the A gap, and you're like, hey, or you get beat. Nothing's better as an old lineman. I'm telling. Well, it's not like, 'cause there's just sheer panic when you get beat, and then when a running back bails you out, you're like, hey, yes, thank you, man. I owe you dinner. So there's a couple of times like that. He's done that this year for myself and guys. On top of all the explosive plays that he's made, the guys making guys miss, which is obviously really fun to watch.
Did you buy him dinner after that?
He comes to O-line dinner, so Bijan's never paying at O-line dinner, that's for sure.
Well, historically, running backs do buy their offensive linemen gifts, and
Yep.
I mean, was he giving during the holiday season?
Bijan's awesome.
No golf carts or anything?
No. But he's really incredible, and the fact that him and Tyler and the quarterbacks come, and we really have a connection aspect where you go out to dinner every week, and sometimes that gets lost, and you really build those relationships, which is kind of different in pro football. So that part's cool.
I was to start off just a recap from last week. It was a disappointing loss. Guys went out there and played with great effort. I was excited for the opportunity Riley had at the end of the game. Unfortunately, we just came up short on the field goal, but it was good they had that opportunity. I thought he kicked the ball well all game, considering the circumstances with the wind and the outdoor environment. But he did a great job all game. Just unfortunate we didn't put it through the uprights. We had great protection, great operation. I thought Avery did a good job in decision-making throughout the game. And our guys played hard and played physical for all 4 quarters. So that was a little bit disappointing. But, again, we have opportunity this week. We go out there, we go play the Carolina Panthers. They have a good unit. We'll go out there and give them our best shot and play on all 6 phases for us on special teams to go out there, Mark, and do what we can do to control, be in a position where we have almost opportunity to control our destiny. But we got to win that game and go out there and do that. And then, obviously, the news come out with Red. Excited for Hodge. Long overdue. He's been playing this game at a high level for a lot of years, and it's been a blessing to coach him the last 3 seasons here in Atlanta. And it goes without saying, he can't do it by himself, and he'll tell you that. Our guys were excited for him. Before I even made it to the special teams room this morning, it was just cheers, and guys were celebrating with him and stuff, and they were just so excited for him because all the hard work that he put into the game. So I'm excited for him. I know as an organization we're blessed to have him here. I think it was the last Pro Bowl special teams player since Eric Weems. Was that 2010, you said? Yeah, 2010. So that's a big accomplishment for Hodge. And, it goes without saying, the guys on our team are beyond excited for him, and I'll open up for any questions.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Khadarel because, an unheralded guy who has been a key part of so many wins this season, right? Has there been any moment that has stood out for you this season with Red, anything that you point to and said that kind of is representative of who he is and what he means to the team?
I mean, he's a tough and physical player, and he plays with great effort, Mark. We were playing the Raiders, obviously, and then the first rush, he goes back there, makes a play on the ball, and he bangs himself up pretty bad. And then from there, we had to make some adjustments on special teams with the substitutions just because he was hurting. And after halftime, he wanted to go back out there. And then he goes back out there, and we talk about in the room, great plays are made from great effort. And he goes out there, and he blocks a punt. And he's not 100% at all, not even close. And he goes out there, and he plays with even better effort and blocks a punt. So that's why, you guys saw the picture of me jumping, going all crazy. I was so excited just because that journey that it took for him to get there. And he's been close a lot of times his last 3 years here, blocking punts. And for him to get that opportunity in that situation, in that game, with what he was dealing with, that speaks volumes about how he goes about his business and how he plays with great effort and how he throws his body on the line for the team and for his teammates, for the organization. So I'm very proud of him.
How special was it to be a part of the surprise yesterday for Khadarel?
Oh, that was awesome. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I thought he was actually doing like a promo or something. And to sit in the room and listen to that and being able to experience that with him, it's really emotional just because of his journey. And, you know, he's been a journeyman. He's played on four different teams: Rams, Browns, Lions, and then here. And, you know, to be on that part, to see him go through that journey, watch him from afar, admire his career from afar, and then get the chance to coach him and be around him day in and day out, and then see the opportunities that he gets, because you only dress 48 players on game day, Taryn, and, you know, he's always one play away from playing on offense. And then the Tampa Bay game happens where Drake goes out for a play and then he scores the game-winning touchdown. Like, I lost my mind. I was telling Stephen King, our special teams assistant, I had an out-of-body experience. I just threw my headset and just ran to the end zone. Just because you watch his journey and how he goes about his business day in and day out. So see it go full circle and then see him get that opportunity, and you can tell he's emotional because the journey that he's been on, and it makes everything worth it. So a lot of times, accomplishments in life, there's always it's never an easy road to get to those spots. But if you do things the right way, you don't take any shortcuts, you treat people right, you lead by example, it makes everything worth it when you get that type of recognition.
How did you announce it to the rest of the special teams unit?
I didn't even get a chance to announce it. I walked into the room and they were in there going crazy. I had something set up to present, but they were already going crazy. So that's what it means. I mean, like, walking into a room and seeing the players like losing their mind and celebrating with them. It's awesome. Like, that means more than anything, just the peer-to-peer recognition that you get from your peers and from your teammates. Like, I knew as a former player, when I would go into a room, let's say we were watching a play, and you made a play on Saturday when I was playing college football, and we would go in the next day and watch it on Sunday. It was cool, yeah, I made the play, but it was even the best feeling ever when your teammates were right there and they were excited that you made that play and you're going back and watching the film. So no matter how much players are getting paid at this level, like, there is a sense of pride and, you know, playing hard for your teammates and making plays for your teammates and getting that type of recognition from your teammates. That means the world to our players, and it was cool to see that this morning.
Now that we're at the end of the regular season, with the kickoff rule and everything changes, how are you assessing it at this point? Is there anything that's surprised you? What do you think there's still left to learn as that goes on?
I think there is. That's a great question. I think there's so much to learn about the play still. Now that we have a bigger sample size, which you say big sample size, is only year one. There's so much to learn from, whether you talk about different schematics, different kicks, different ways you want to set up the returners, different formations that you want to do within the confines of the rules. There's so much still to learn from, but I think there's a good enough sample size to continue to grow and help make this play become even better. I think last week the Giants ran a kickoff return back for a touchdown versus the Colts, which helped them win the game. And we were actually watching that with the players this morning, and they did something a little bit different that we haven't seen before. And it just gets your mind thinking on how can you continue to put your players in better situations, whether you're covering kicks or returning kicks. And the field position, I think, has been really big because of a team gains a first down, let's say if it's a touchback or return kick, they're 1 or 2 plays away from being in field goal range or going for it around the logo area. So I think the kickoff play has helped evolve and made things different on offense, defense, and still with special teams. So I'm excited, obviously once the season ends, whenever that is, to go back and continue to evaluate the play, evaluate our team, and continue to make that play better for our organization and for the league.
Yeah, Coach, what are some of the issues you all will be dealing with Bryce Young as he's got back in the lineup there for the Panthers?
Yeah. No, Bryce Young, there's a reason why he went number 1 overall, extremely talented. I know him personally, and I know him since he was a freshman in high school at Cathedral High School before he transferred to Mater Dei. So I know what type of talent he is, what a hard worker he is, and you can see his development and how he's seeing everything a lot better. He's getting rid of the ball a lot better, and then really he's actually moving around the pocket a lot better as well, scrambling, knows when to take off, knows when to still bide time and still try to throw the ball downfield. And so you can see he's getting a better feel for NFL football. And in my opinion, he's playing his best football right now in his short career.
And I guess the running backs are Triples, IR, Hubbard. It looked like they were trying to go with Blackshear last week, but things kind of went sideways there.
Yeah, and then it looks like they have Sanders here coming up as well. So, it's a talent-rich league, and I know obviously they lost an incredible player in Hubbard, but the next running back is going to be ready to take care, get his opportunity, and he's going to try to take care of business. And so they have a really good scheme, and we got to be ready. Whoever they line up back there and whoever they hand the ball off, it's job number one is to slow down and stop the run.
It seems like Matthew Judon is starting to, I don't want to say figure things out, but he's starting to perform better the talent of the season now compared to the beginning. What do you owe that to?
Yeah, so proud of him. I owe that to hard work for what he has done and with the work that he's put in. And you see what he's done from day to day since he's been here. And work works. I've said that before, work works. And you watch him just put in the hard work, and then it's just awesome to see the results for him. And I believe was his best game as a Falcon was his last game. And I'm excited to see what's going to come next year on Sunday. I know he's playing with a lot of confidence, and he's just continuing to get better. And his hard work is the reason why he's played at a higher level as of late.
He's a free agent, and this might be a premature question, but is he a guy that you'd like to have back on the squad next year?
Yeah, I'll save all those questions for Raheem and Terry. I'll let those guys answer those questions, and so I'll move on to the next question.
That's fair.
Yep.
I want to ask you also about Caden Ellis. It just seems like every game he does a little something, whether it's a sack or it's a big stop in the run game or an interception against Washington. What has he meant to the? It feels like he's almost kind of like the glue of the defense. Is that an incorrect characterization?
No, I wouldn't say that. What I'll say is again another player that has really worked at his craft, and you look at way back from day one to present, a guy that just every single day has increasingly got better and better and better, and his knowledge of the game is growing, his techniques are growing, and now we're able to put more things on him, line him up in different positions, drop him in different areas of coverage, blitz him in different areas across the front, and the more he's able to handle, and we put him through all these hoops in practice, and he's able to digest it, he's able to execute it, and it's just it's fun to watch it play out in real time in games. So proud of him getting his first interception, and hopefully many more to come.
Knowing Bryce Young personally, and then also just looking at his film this year and last year, is it as simple as saying that he is more comfortable in an NFL offense now that he's kind of turned a corner, or is there something else that might have clicked, you think?
Of course, with me not being in the building or coaching him, this is just me just guessing. But I see a player that's just more comfortable seeing it, more comfortable delivering the football on time. Even if there's a blitz coming, I think he's more comfortable seeing that the protection has it. He doesn't have to get out of the pocket. And just those sort of things that you can see on film where, as a rookie or even earlier in the year, you may have saw him a little bit more skittish, not staying in the pocket, getting out of the pocket too early. And so you could just see that he's seeing it a lot better. And this is definitely his best football that I've seen him play in the NFL.
Forgive my ignorance. How did you get to know him? Just through Washington recruiting?
Through recruiting. Yep. Oh, he was one of the highest recruits in the country. Obviously ended up at Alabama, but had all 100 and some offers as a freshman at Cathedral High School. And so everybody, not just me, everybody in the country knew who he was. And he's a West Coast product, and I was mainly recruiting out there years ago.
Do you remember your first impression of him?
Yeah, extremely smart, very quick delivery. They played an air raid offense at Cathedral High School, so they basically passed the ball every single play, and you were able to evaluate him on every play. I don't think he handed off one time when I was at practice, and so you got to see him just quick trigger, quick decision maker, and an incredible leader as well at such a young age.
Yeah, what is it, if Darnell gets 8 yards, you'll have 2,000 yards receivers, first time around here since 2012.
Thank you. Yeah. No, those guys are having a special season. Obviously, we've talked about them a lot this season, and both just unbelievable pros. With Drake and Mooney in free agency was, I think I mentioned it even last week, he was our top guy we were looking at, and been watching him for a long time. We scouted him when he was at Tulane. Would have loved to have him in LA. Obviously, he ended up in Chicago, and he's followed his career. We've played against Chicago a handful of times. Seems like he's always open. And so when that was available, and our front office guys did an unbelievable job of, being able to get Darnell here. And he's been nothing but just a great guy to be around every single day. Brings a ton of energy to practice. Very, very smart. I know we've talked about that at length, just how cerebral he is for a receiver. I meet with him every single Friday. We go through the entire game plan together, and he sees the game like a quarterback, and it's pretty cool. So it's a testament to him, the work that he's put in dating back to the spring. I think I even said last week he's one of the most competitive guys in the building, him and Drake. And so to see those two guys have the seasons that they've had, not a surprise, and it's just been really cool to see them continue to get better, and they're just going to keep getting better in the offense. Obviously, we're in year one with a new offense, obviously a quarterback change, all the things that kind of came with that. So they'll just keep getting better, and Mooney's been a total stud, and as Drake as well.
Is that a one-on-one talk with him, with Mooney on Fridays?
Yeah, it was him. He brought it up this summer to me, and he called me out of the blue. It was like middle of July before camp started up, and he said, "Hey, I'd love to meet with you one-on-one just to go through the game plan. Is there a day, that you have that's somewhat available?" And I said, "Shoot, we can knock it out Friday right after practice." So every Friday we finish practice. Mooney comes up there, and we pull up the call sheet and we go through everything. He doesn't want to spend too much time on the run game, which I get it, but we hit all the passes, and he just wants to know, hey, what are we thinking here? And he does a great job relaying those things to the guys on game day. If there's somebody that's getting lined up and they're not quite sure, he knows all the spots, he knows every position. It's really impressive.
Is that common for a wide receiver to have those one-on-one?
I've never been around it. The closest, obviously, Cooper Kupp was in the same mold as Mooney. Those guys are very similar, the way they work and all those things. Saw it more with, Cooper and Matthew Stafford. Those two guys met all the time, which Mooney does that with our quarterbacks as well. But as far as a one-on-one meeting with, the play caller, I've never heard of that.
Offensive linemen, of course, don't have any flashy stats, but what makes Chris Lindstrom so deserving of a Pro Bowl?
A lot of things. He's obviously the character of him as a football player. I mean, that's exactly what you want it to look like from a process preparation standpoint, the stuff that you don't see on the practice field, on the game field, all the things that he does to get himself ready for that is exactly what you wanted in an NFL player. And then you just mentioned the overall grit, toughness, plays each snap like it's his last play. I don't know, I've never been around a guy that plays that hard every single snap. It's really cool. And then obviously just the talent, the ability to get out of his stance, how quick he is when the ball's snapped. Coach Ledford preaches speed off the ball. That's going to be his teach tape for a long time with Chris Lindstrom. So everything that he embodies as a football player, if you have a son that's growing up to play football, you want him to play the game like him. He plays the game the right way, and he's had an awesome season, awesome career.
Michael Penix makes that throw to Kyle Pitts. 4th and 13, it's just a laser beam, right? Obviously in the moment you're concentrating on what is going on in the game, play calling wise. But
sure.
Is there something in the back of your head that says oh yeah, okay, we got a guy?
Yeah, sure. No, there's those moments, absolutely, and there's been those moments, since Mike got here, in training camp, in practice. You've seen it in the games now. But, when he made those throws, a bunch of those clutch throws at the end of the game, especially that one to Kyle, I think on the headset I was like, he just knifed it in there, and it was an unbelievable shot in a big-time moment. You know everything that Mike's about just dating back to his career at Washington and Indiana, and he's played in those big-time moments, and he's unflappable. So seeing him in that big-time moment in a playoff atmosphere do that was pretty cool, and I would say we're not surprised, to see him do that in that moment.
That's a throw that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is a throw that is so difficult for any quarterback to make, but also just even having the confidence to make
Totally.
it. is a whole different level.
Sure, absolutely. No, it's a tight window. He knows the ball has got to get into the end zone there, but he's got a confidence to throw the ball anywhere he wants on the football field, which is fun. And it doesn't matter if it's 60 yards outside the numbers. It doesn't matter if it's a 5-yard shot, if it's a 20-yard laser. He's got everything in his bag. And so seeing that in that moment was a great throw and great catch by Kyle too, man. It was tight coverage, obviously. Big play by those guys.
What's it been like reviewing film with him after his 2 games? Like, how critical is he of himself?
Yeah, no, he's very critical. He was even critical at halftime, when we were talking at halftime, and he was like, man, I got to hit those throws. Like, hey, you keep shooting. Those things are there. You just keep playing the game, and those things are going to come. And but the next day, watching film with him, he sees the game so well, and the conversation is so easy and fluid. He sees the game like a veteran quarterback, and he's obviously played a lot of football, which helps, but he just has that natural eye for the game too, that when he was 17 years old, he still saw the game the right way, and obviously he just has that natural football instinct, the things that you like about any quarterback. So he's very critical of himself at answering your first question there, and but understands, there's a lot that goes into this. He needs some time on task with these guys, and he keeps saying, oh man, it's going to come, and but doesn't mean that he still, thinks he's going to hit every single throw, which he should.
I know you weren't here last year, but Bijan was talking about how Drake's become a very vocal leader this year. Just like, what have you seen from him? Rob mentioned him as like kind of the emotional leader, as Darnell's kind of the cerebral.
Yeah, no, Drake's been, have seen that big time. I would have never known that he wasn't, in years past. I know he's obviously a lot more comfortable going into his 3rd year, and you just naturally become, more comfortable with your teammates and those types of things. But no, Drake is a dog, and that's like the best way to describe him, whether it's practice field, whether it's meetings, whether it's game. He is so competitive, hyper competitive, that it's good that he has these emotions that happen with it. Sometimes he can channel them and even be a little better, but then you're like, man, that's what makes you go. So let him kind of have those moments that he does. But I think everybody knows that when the ball is snapped, that number 5 is going to be giving everything he's got every single snap, whether he's blocking, running a route, catching, run after catch. He's an incredible football player, and another guy that's just going to keep getting better, especially working more time with Mike.